Welcome back to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast, your premier podcast with the spotlight on section hikers, and I am your host, Julie Jester Gayheart. And for episode number 165, the spotlight goes to our guest this week, Tara Dower. Tara was first on the podcast back in 2020 when I met up with her on the Mountains of Sea Trail right after she finished the trail as an FKT attempt. Tara still holds the women's supported fastest known time on the Mountains of Sea Trail at a whopping 29 days, 8 hours, and 48 minutes. She also holds the overall supported fastest known time on the Benton Mackay Trail at 4 days, 21 hours, and 25 minutes. Tara joins me to share all about her recent accomplishment of completing the Colorado Trail women's supported fastest known time on the east to west route, the Collegiate East, at 8 days, 21 hours, and 59 minutes. You are also going to hear about how Tara and I met up this summer at the Hardrock 100 held in Silverton, Colorado each year. This was one of my best moments with Tara spectating a mountain run. Tara also shares about her new book, Light and Easy. The photo book is centered around her story and photography taken while out on her FKT of the Benton Mackay Trail. Thanks for joining me for another week of the podcast, and now on to my interview with Tara Dower. Here she is, Miss Tara Dower. Hey, Tara, welcome back to the show.
How's it going?
I kind of left off that Tara and I were both in Colorado. We were both doing totally different things. On a whim, we decided to go to Colorado and hang out at the Hardrock 100, which was absolutely phenomenal. Tara was flying out, and I'm going to have Tara pick up on that. But first, Tara, I want you to talk about your book and the story behind this and how this came about.
So Light and Easy is just about my Benton Mackay Trail. Benton Mackay is what they say. I always get it wrong. Benton Mackay Trail FKT that I did last year. And that was a trail that I was pretty passionate about and just like trying to complete in general, but also like in an FKT form. And I had a lot of great support come out there, and Light and Easy is the title is kind of like a ode to like the motto during the hike. And I really attempted to just take it like have a good time and not be anxious about it. I mean, it's easier to say like, don't be anxious about this, but I really tried to like take it light and not make this such a big deal. Like it's just an FKT. It's a trail. We're going to have fun. And so I had a friend, Pete, come out because it was supported, and Pete took some really amazing photos, and you showed off the book, the front of it. But Light and Easy, it's me. I wrote like a short story about the trail and my experience. And then Pete, I think what makes this book so great is the photos. Pete just took like these amazing photos. I think this makes the entire book. It just shows like the complexities of an FKT involved with the crew, and also just like the intensity of an athlete in an FKT. And I think he just did a great job. So I wanted to combine like my experience as well as adding photos in there. It's on sale now. You can buy it at Amazon and you can get it right away. Or if you'd like a signed copy with a sticker, the Mountains of Sea Trail sticker. I did the Mountains of Sea Trail in 2020, and this is a sticker from it done by a friend of mine. And you'll get a sticker and a signed copy of Light and Easy. And you can just email me at Tara, KOMLO99@gmail.com. And I'll get you a copy of that.
Job well done on that. Get a copy of Tara's book. Email her. I think one of the greatest stories of not only my summer, but it might be one of my funnest stories ever at a race out in the ultra community. And Tara and I both have a love for the Appalachian Trail community, for the Mountains of Sea Trail community, and really just the hiking and ultra community in general are amazing people. And that comes true in your FKT attempt on the Colorado Trail as well. In an interview that Tara and I did back in 2020, we talked about a particular individual. And I'm pretty sure in that interview, we both made light of not only was she an amazing runner, she's an amazing advocate for the ultra running community, and she's just overall a nice person. Courtney Dauwalter is our idol. And we talked about her in 2020, like, oh man, she's really cool and she's really going to do things and we love her. And, she's really good for women in the sport. So fast forward, summer of 2023, I'm out vacationing, hanging out at Hardrock, like I'm part of the race somehow. So we were out at the halfway point and Tara sends me a text and she's like, I'm in Colorado. I'm coming to Ouray. And I was like, well, we're in Ouray. Come to the van, come visit, come see us. Courtney hasn't come through yet. So Tara, take it from there.
Yeah. So I had flown into Ouray and then we went to my friend's place outside of Ridgeway. And I knew that Courtney was on her way to Ouray. And I was like, oh gosh, I really want to go see her. But I just came and I'm here with my friend. I don't know if I should ask, hey, can I skedaddle and see this idol of mine? And Reese is great. I asked her and she's like, yeah, take my car. And so I took her car within hours of getting to Ouray and getting to Colorado and drove out to Ouray. And I knew Jester was there. So I was like, okay, I got to text her and see where you are. And you were there. So I was just like,
I know you called me and you're like, where are you? And I turned around and I was like, well, you're right here. We're together.
Yeah. And so I saw you and I was like, this is great. We just were catching up. And then I kind of totally forgot Courtney was coming through because we were just in this conversation. And then I think somebody said something to the effect of Anne is on the way, and Anne was in front of Courtney at the time.
And we saw some of the lead guys come through. Maybe we should tell people what the Hardrock 100 is for those that don't know. Tell them what it is.
Yeah, Hardrock 100 is a 100-mile race through mostly the San Juans of Colorado, and it has a crazy amount of elevation gain, and it's just a really tough race.
I think it's it's very hard to get into. They only have 145 or 40 or 45 or so participants, and it's very coveted amongst the ultra world. And I mean, you're top notch if you get into this. And the main thing about Hardrock is you have to qualify to get into that race. So that means you have to run a 100 miler that there's nothing equivalent to it as far as Tara was saying, the elevation, but you have to run a 100 miler that they deem applicable to even remotely for you to finish the Hardrock 100. And you guys, they give everybody 2 days to finish this race. So Tara and I are sitting there chatting and some of the lead guys come through. And I think somebody said, yeah, the first place woman's coming through. And you and I were kind of like, where's Courtney?
Yeah.
So we kind of took off and went maybe a quarter a mile down the road and tell them what happened from there.
Yeah. And so then, I saw Anne come through and it was really cool to see her because I was on social media watching the entire race for however long it was happening before that. And I had looked up Anne and I was an instant fan, and she came through and said hi to her. But then at that point I was like, okay, I know Courtney's not far behind. So I put my phone on a trash can and set it up because I knew this would be a core moment for me. Seeing this person, I've literally followed Courtney. I mean, me and you have followed Courtney for years. She has been for me, this might sound weird, but if I'm in a tough moment in a race or FKT, it's really strange me saying this, but I'll try to embody her because when she's running, if you watch her run, it's this easiness and this lightness to her. And I try to become that because it's and for some reason I instantly feel this lightness come over me. It's I am Courtney and I embody that spirit of calmness that, I don't know, she just exudes. Maybe in her head it's completely different, but when I watch her run, if I watch her races or whatever, it's just this calmness and she has it together. And so I literally become her. So I've been watching her for so many years. And she just, for a lot of women in the sport, she's a idol, especially like young women too. So like, I was so excited to see her. I knew this was going to be a core moment.
I am just like cracking up because inside I'm like, oh my God, she's coming. She's coming. And she's so friendly. And I just see all of a sudden she's coming down the road. I'm like, oh my God, that's her, because you could recognize her because she wears basketball shorts, which I love. I love. And she doesn't conform.
Just does what works for her.
Yeah. So here she comes. And next thing I know, I see Tara running towards her, like jumping up and down. I am just dying laughing. I mean, she goes by in an instant.
I couldn't contain myself. I literally couldn't contain the jumps, the waves, the like squeals of excitement. Like I couldn't contain myself. It's like, this person, I love you. Please. And it's weird. It's like, please acknowledge me. Like I exist. She smiled at me. She smiled, and I have it on video. And
Yes,
she looked at me and smiled, and I was like,
but the best part, you guys, so we turn around and Tara's like, I go, well, chase after her. Like, I'm like, this woman has just run like 58 miles. You could certainly keep up with her.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just walking back to our van and I'm like, well, I'll walk over and see if I can find Tara, because literally Tara takes off after her. And I never saw Tara again. And the next thing I know, I'm getting videos from Tara. You got to tell them what you did.
So Courtney took a break in Ouray with her crew, and everyone's standing around her, watching her as she's very quiet, watching her like get, her crew necessities. And I was just like, all right, I'm just going to blow past this. This feels like an intimate moment, but I'm just going to blow past this. And like, I know I'll see her down the trail. And so I eventually see her. She like runs down past me and I wave at her again, but she doesn't look good. We all know that. I mean, that's just like, she's probably in the zone or whatever. And so I end up following her and an Arlen up through Box Canyon for like 2 miles. And I'm just watching the race happen. Like, that might sound stalkerish, like for sure. That sounds a little stalkerish, but like, when do you get a chance like this to follow an idol of yours doing the thing that they do best, that you watch them? And I was like, I just was like I felt like a fly in the wall. I was just watching this race happen. I was watching Courtney as she passed Anne, and like was watching Arlen like take off too. And it's just like, this is an incredible experience. And I think from that point on, I let them go as they were going up the road. But I think from that point on, Courtney was leading the way, because before that, Anne had been in first. So I felt pretty honored to be there watching Courtney like take charge of the race. It was just so cool. And again, Anne did a great job too. It's not saying anything about her. She did an incredible job. It's just Courtney is a force of nature. My goodness.
I know. I went back to the van and Stephanie was like, well, where's Tara? I said, she is gone. She is behind Courtney. Tara's gone. So I don't know if I called you or texted you. I said, Tara, where'd you go? And next thing I know, I'm getting videos. I'm like, oh my God, she is with them.
Yeah. Nobody else was. I was like, everyone's there in Ouray. Like, everyone's chilling in there. Like, why don't we just like watch the race happen a little farther up the trail? And
that was smart.
Yeah.
That was smart. So awesome. So you specifically came out a week prior. Was that it? So you could acclimate to the altitude?
Yeah, a week prior. It was going to be like a week, but since I flew out and didn't drive, I was not feeling like driving. It was like a week and a couple of days to acclimate.
So you're out in Colorado and you are starting the attempt on the Colorado Trail with your friend Liz. And obviously you guys have a plan. You're talking this out. You're going to try to break the record, which was 9 days, previously held by another. Well, actually, you guys started out as an unsupported team. And self-supported. And then it turned into a supported women's attempt. So walk us through what your initial plan was with Liz, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so me and Liz had been supporting each other's attempts on numerous things. And she texted me, I forget when, but she texted me sometime last year. I was like, why don't we do the Colorado Trail? Why don't we see if we can like set a record together and do an attempt together? And I was like, I'm down. Like, I try to do a long trail, something that's like over 100 some miles every year. I try to complete a trail every year. So I was like, I don't have anything for that year. So I'm totally down. And we were going into it self-supported. So that means we were going to be restocking on our own. We were going to be supporting ourselves. We weren't going to get any outside help. It was just going to be solely us aiding each other. And since it's a partner and since we're in it together, it was like a partner self-supported record. And we would still, if we completed it, it would still be like the overall supported or like women's supported record.
And you guys went out knowing that, and I've read your recaps that you are putting out on Instagram right now, knowing you were going to have to do 50 plus 60-mile days.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We had a pretty aggressive plan for sure. We were going for Andre Mashad, I think his name is, his record, which is sub 9 days. His self-supported record for going east to west is collegiate east is 8 days, 23 hours and some change. So it was pretty much based on him.
Why east to west versus west to east, and why the collegiate east versus the gorgeous, beautiful, from what I hear, collegiate west route? So you guys went east to west, collegiate east.
At least for the collegiate east, I know that's like a lot more people do the collegiate east as far as like record attempts. And that was like what Nika had did when she did her self-support. That's what Andre did. And we were just kind of looking at that based on like FKT's website. And then for east to west, we were originally thinking west to east, but we changed that maybe a month before, because we're both from the East Coast. I'm from Virginia Beach, which is at like 10 feet. And then she's from like the Boston area. So we knew like that would be tough because when you're in Durango, you're like going instantly up to like, I want to say it's like 12,000 feet within like 20 miles. And with going from Denver, you kind of gradually over the day, I think the highest you get in the first day that we did was 10,000 feet. So that just seemed a lot better as far as acclimating for us. I like to think that helped us as far as acclimating. So that's why we went east to west.
Over on your YouTube channel, you involved your listeners. You put out a couple videos of what you were going to be carrying, and you asked for different ideas. And I'm pretty sure, and we had a conversation about this in your Ray, you guys, Tara was going to carry a bear canister on an FKT attempt.
Oh my goodness. I was silly. There was some very like nice YouTube commenters that were like, respectfully, no.
And we'd have a comment in the chat. At least if you took the bear can, you'd have something to sit on.
Well, hopefully I'm not doing a lot of sitting. If I'm sitting, then I'm doing it wrong.
Walk us through. I want to break this down like day 1 through 3. And then day 4 was very pivotal. So walk us through day 1 through 3, how you're doing.
I was just pulling up my Strava because it helps me remember what happened that day. But you asked about like day 1 through 3.
Yeah. Walk us through like your moods, what's happening. Are you guys excited day 1? Like walk us through that kind of stuff.
Day 1, we were like super excited. We actually ran because it's on this like really easy graded road for the first 6 miles. So we ran the first 6 miles. We were both like talking about what we could do to like maximize our time as a partnership. And we were just running a bunch, and just like with any FKT, you're expected to like feel a level of excitement. And we were just like kind of really excited to be together and doing this thing together and being on the Colorado Trail too. So that day we ended up doing 60 miles, but through that day, like the excitement we were still excited, but I would say the energy level kind of like faded, because as we went through the day, we climbed higher and higher, and like we could both feel the altitude that first day for sure. That was the toughest altitude day for me. I didn't have any issues with the altitude. Besides that one, we got up to like 9,000 and then 10,000. I remember calling Jonathan on the phone, and I was just like out of breath. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. And then once we got to this meadow, it was like a 6 to 10 mile meadow walk, and it was pretty easy graded again, but that was like our last bit we had to do. And I remember just like feeling so sick after getting so high. I just threw up all this food I had taken in, and she was feeling really like exhausted. We were both like excited to be out there, but definitely feeling the effects of the trail for sure. Day one.
I think I read like night one, hardly any sleep.
Yeah, night one, I think, well, I got around 3 hours of sleep. I took an hour before and tried to eat some food. Didn't happen. So I just like took a leave and ate some pretzels. And then I went to bed and woke up an hour early so I could get some good breakfast in, at least get some calories in for the day. So I drank a protein shake and like ate some breakfast. And
when you're getting up, this is like 2, 3 in the morning, right? You're on the trail by what time?
Yeah, I think this next morning it was like, I think we got on trail by like 2:30, I want to say. I forget.
Look at your Strava, Tara. Look at your Strava.
Yeah. It was definitely tough to get up that first morning. I mean, this was an easier day to get up, but it was progressively getting harder through the attempt.
We should say while you're doing this attempt, the fastest known time governing body, I guess that's what I'll call it, they require you to track at all times. I mean, they got to know your every move. So how did you do that? You were using a Garmin, you were using your Strava?
Yeah, I had a Garmin tracking, and then I also had my watch, my Chorus watch, and my activities on that. They use like Strava and like your watch. That's what they mainly use to like verify it. But I had the tracking information just in case like something went wrong. I will say this, they haven't verified it yet. The guy who verifies it in that region, I've heard, is like kind of busy with things. So I'm like patiently waiting for it to get verified. I'm like, should I send him more information? I'm like so anxious to have it verified.
Day 1, 60 miles. Day 2, 59 miles. What's happening day 2? Still feeling altitude? Like what's going on?
No, we're feeling better and we were getting some good miles in the first day. Liz had like in a moment where she felt a little tired, and we reevaluated and got in some caffeine pills, and we were both feeling like pretty excited. And the name of the game for the second day, because we knew we would be tired and there's elevation involved, I think we would get up to like 12,000 this day. So it was just keeping a consistent pace. Just keep a pace that feels comfortable. We don't have to run. We don't have to do anything crazy. Just keep a consistent pace. That was like anywhere from like 2.5 to 3 miles per hour. But we tried, when we went up, obviously it was slower, but like we tried to get as, of a consistent pace as possible. And we did it. And I think that was the strongest day for us. We had a couple ups and downs, like it got really hot. And that was a theme in this attempt. There wasn't a lot of storms right now in Colorado. I don't know about right now, but at the time, like the monsoon season, which is typically thunderstorms and like lots of rain all of a sudden and in the afternoons, like there wasn't any of that. There wasn't any cooling down. It was just hot from 11 to 4. So like that was a theme during it, and especially on day 2. And there was moments where we got really hot, but we just tried to keep a consistent pace and stay on top of hydrating, getting our salt in, electrolytes in, making sure we're eating consistently. Because if we do all these things, we should be fine if we just keep up with taking care of ourselves and staying consistent. So that was the name of the game for the second day.
Was it the second night you only got 1 hour of sleep?
Yeah, that was hard. So, it kept consistent through the day. But then towards the end, after I went over the pass and down, Liz had made a wrong turn. So she was about 30 minutes behind me, but just like got really exhausted and like started like micro hallucinating and just having like a really tough time, like making proper decisions. And I actually missed an official detour that I eventually, the day after, I had to redo that entire section, which really threw us off for the third day.
Yeah.
But I ended up just falling far out because I was like, I can't make these decisions on my own. I just followed this app. And we made it, we actually got to a hotel or an inn, and that was nice. But I think that threw us off too, because we had to do all this stuff, take a shower and take care of our feet, clean our clothes, restock our packs. And by the time I got to bed, it was just like, I was so like hyped up and I just couldn't get to sleep. It was hot. I felt warm and I only got like an hour of sleep, and it was frustrating.
I just can't even fathom what you guys did, but there started to be a transition.
Yeah, so I'll just go into day 3 a little briefly, but we started later because we got in a little later and we started a little later, and it threw us off for the entire day, and it was hot. There was a lot of climbing right off the bat, so we weren't getting as many miles. We had a plan, so we were trying to keep to the plan, but we only got 44 miles, around 44 miles. So not getting that planned goal was really tough. We ended up getting right where Andre stopped. Like, we were like, okay, we can at least get to where he stopped. We might not go 10 miles more. That's fine. We can at least stay on track with Andre's self-supported record. The next day, on the 4th day, we woke up and Liz woke up early, tried to fuel as much as she could. We were both having a tough time, but I think she was just really having a tough time with nutrition. And the next day, the next morning, she tried to fuel and she kept trying to fuel, and then she just wasn't keeping up. And that was upsetting because I just really wanted this for both of us. But we had had a conversation in our section hike before about like what to do, because we expect these things to happen. We expect like lows to happen. But this is one we felt like we both couldn't afford. We were doing the math. We were both doing the math. Like, can we stay on track with Andre's record at this pace? Probably not. And then I was like, can we stay on pace with Nika's record, who has the women's self-support? We're like, I thought like probably not. And so we got to the point and we both just had this conversation, a really hard conversation. And she's great and like very realistic and practical. And it's like, of course she feels sad about that, but like she also has a way of like separating her emotions from like that attempt and like completely like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like re-envisioning something else from it. And we both came to this together, but we thought like, okay, at this point, Liz cannot continue. With that, we had talked about doing one of us supporting the other for a supported record. And the reason why it would turn into one of us being supported is because the first 3.5 days, we were together, and that could be viewed as emotional support. We used each other's filters. We, maybe gave each other blister care or medications. So that would be considered support if like one of us left. So at that point, we thought like, okay, let's see how these next miles go until Twin Lakes. And if you're still feeling this exhaustion, then it's going to switch. You're going to go to town and we're going to switch to a supported record attempt.
Okay, so just hearing you talk about that, it brings me back to either being on a section hike or a through hike, and you're out here on this FKT and you're trying to do math.
In the early morning, dark hours.
You're trying to figure out previous record holders' times, days, where they were, supported versus self-supported versus now you're by yourself. That's a lot to figure out when you've done 15 miles in one day. So I commend you guys.
Math is something I do a lot on the trail. I never do it anywhere else, but I'm like, oh, dang, math is like my thing on trail.
Okay, not only you guys, Tara is officially crazy. So she's out doing this and she's doing math and she likes it.
I have to. You have to do it. And sometimes I don't do it right. And that's when it gets a little sketchy. Like, is that math right? That can't be right. I'm not very good at math.
So after day 4, she's made this decision. It's switched. You are now going supported.
Yeah.
Which means you could take stuff out of your pack, which means, you could have somebody with you. Somebody could beat you at trailhead. It's supported. You could pretty much have whatever you want. Yeah. But before we get to that, I saw a nasty picture of your feet. I don't know what day it was. And I was like, oh my God, her toenail has sunken into her big toe and it doesn't exist anymore. I don't know if that
Yeah.
was day 3 or 4. Talk about your feet and what you did to keep your feet healthy.
That's the thing that's been holding me back from running. Running's like my release. I enjoy running and I haven't been able to run because my feet they're all infected. I have to go to the doctor tomorrow. I'm on antibiotics. They're infected and both my big toes and one's loose. It's definitely ready to come off, but I don't think I did anything right because the feet swelled at elevation and from the miles, and I didn't order the right pair of shoes to come halfway through. It was my normal size, but I should have gotten a half size bigger. And that did it right there. So I don't think I did anything right. Eventually, I did get the right size shoe with the help of my crew. They did find the right size, and that was like heaven.
So in 9 days of the attempt, or 8 days of the attempt, how many shoes did you started off in one pair, you switched to a pair that was too small, and then you got a third pair?
Yeah, so the Mont Blancs were the first, and they were actually okay, but they were getting small, and that was the first 200-ish miles to something. And then I was in the Olympuses that were 9.5s by Ultra. And the shoe is great, but it's way different from the Mont Blanc. The Mont Blanc is a very lightweight shoe. The Olympus is not at all. It's probably the heaviest shoe that they have. So with the heaviness of the shoe, I was smacking my toe and the shoe is too small and I was just smacking my feet and just that toenail was loose already. And now that toenail with it being loose, it's not quite coming off, but it's going deeper and deeper into my toenail bed.
Okay, you guys got to go on Instagram and look at that picture. It is nasty.
With all the dirt, I mean, you saw the dirt on my feet. With all the dirt and stuff, my feet were like bound to get infected.
I couldn't tell if your toenails were painted or if that was just like black from banging.
They were painted. That is a pro trick or a pro tip. Like if you guys put loads of nail polish on, hopefully it'll be good. But that's like low protectant, if you will.
Obviously, your feet got trashed. We're just going to go with that.
Yeah.
And remind me, did you say right now as we speak, your feet are infected, you're going to the doctor and you're on an antibiotic?
Yes. Yeah. 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 And I don't know when I finished. Was it maybe a week ago, I think? But yeah, they're still pretty infected.
This is why I love you. I mean, I truly do. But you did it. You still got through it. So let's go to where Liz decides to switch her role. And she didn't quit on you. It's not like she went home. She went full bore trying to get you help, and people in the community were coming out. So take us through.
Yeah. I mean, Liz is such a good person. She's a wholesome person. I don't think a lot of people would just like quit, but like, I think more people would be like, I think most people would be upset. Like, oh, this FK didn't work out for me. I just hiked 100-something miles and I'm exhausted. Liz totally removed herself from that part of the FKT and seamlessly went into being a crew member, and she's the best crew member. I mean, she just like I talked about in this latest post, but she just I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like this complete and total like care for me and like this wholesome, like it was just like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like how you feel when your mother just like cares for you. It's like she just wanted the absolute best for me. And she wanted me to do this as much as like, you know, she wanted to complete it. She wanted to like be there for me. And she went into like crew mode. She didn't sleep, still wasn't like, she didn't go to the hotel, like go to sleep. She wasn't like, oh, I'm going to fall asleep. She like went into like getting a rental car. She went into like doing social media posts. She slept for like an hour on the floor before she took a shower because she was so dirty and tired. But then she went right back into like trying to get a crew in a rental car, and then went to bed for like a couple hours, not even that much. Then she woke up when I was awake on the trail. When I woke up, I did this whole day of backpacking on my own, and I went to sleep and woke up at like, I think it was 1:30 again, 1:30 a.m. And she woke up to see where I was, and she was tracking me. as I was coming to the hotel that we had booked for that night before. And she was tracking me the entire way. She set out all my stuff. She was absolute total care. I mean, you can't ask for a better friend and crew member. It's incredible. She's honestly, I'll say this. She is the real MVP of the entire FKT. Like, I was just walking, and I know that sounds like, oh, I was just walking 50 something miles. But honestly, I didn't have to do anything but walk and hike. What she had to do was loads harder, and it wouldn't have been anywhere close or anywhere possible without her. And she is the one that really deserves all of the praise and everything because she made it happen.
Well, listen, that is very commendable and very honest. And I know she will appreciate that. And so walk us through, you're out on the trail, Liz is doing her thing. How are things going for you out on trail? Those final days, are you still doing math in your mind? I got to get this many miles. I got to get this many miles.
Yeah. So, I mean, for like that fourth day, I did all backpacking, and I wasn't sure if I could do it. Like, if I was able, because there was so much self-doubt after she left, and ended up getting as many miles as I could, which I think was like 50 something. Again, right where Andre left off. Then the next day I met up with Liz and offloaded a lot of my stuff, and again, got a good amount of miles in, and we hiked together at the end and had a beautiful camp spot together.
She figured out like where to come in and meet you. I mean, I don't know how she did what she did, but it was awesome.
It's not like she like lives there either. It's like she's not aware of like different roads or like different accesses. She had to trust people who are giving her advice, but also just like come up with these spots on her own and like do research. And like, she got sleep wherever she could. She didn't sleep a whole lot. She was completely focused on the attempt. And this entire time, I'm just moving along the trail, and she's doing all of this stuff, all of this research, texting. There were so many people that messaged her, and thank you to everyone who like helped monetarily. I know Rob here, Hiker Biker Klutz, is in chat, and he, helped out with money for the rental car, and several people did, like my mom as well. My friend Becca did. There were several people who couldn't come out, so they helped in that way. There's a guy who made an entire spreadsheet of like access points that like a car like hers could access. Yeah. And like coordinates and everything. And then there was people who came out physically and helped, which was amazing. Just so much help from all over the place in so many different ways.
And I know she was asking for people to come out and pace or hike and run with you. Did that happen?
Yeah. So it was the 6th day. I just posted about it today, but on the 6th day, that's when we finally started having people come out. And we had my friend Lindsay McDonald come out, and she paced me for around like 12. It was a little hazy, 12 to 14 miles. And then after that, Melinda and Doug McCaw, she's about to do an FKT on the trail soon. But she has a great cause. It's help elevate kids, and she's on Instagram, and she's got a great cause for this FKT. So they paced and like came out and crewed and helped a bunch for a couple days. Then my friend Michael came out, otherwise known as Cougs. But he's great. I didn't meet him until that day, like a lot of these people. And he came out, and he actually backpacked with me. He kept all of my gear in his pack, and we hiked together for a day and a half.
Wow.
And he kept pace and was like going through it himself. Like, that's a lot of miles to do with a pack. And he like did it and like didn't complain, he was a perfect hiking partner through those. Like, that was a tough time because there was like thunderstorms were starting to like appear, and anyone is, but I'm like super sketched out by thunderstorms. And he really saw a side of me that I don't really like to show a lot of people, this like anxiety ridden side and like this like panic side. And he was great. And he did a great job managing that and helping me through it. But then my friend Christine Reed came out. She didn't pace me, but she came out and helped with crewing and like being there with Liz. She took care of my feet a lot. So Christine, like, I don't think I would have been able to make it without Christine too for that last day. She woke up early, or she got up and like took care of my feet, and like it was so necessary, and I'm glad she was there. And then, yes. And then my friend Reese, of course, Reese is there through I think you've probably seen her on like some of my posts or whatever, but Reese is a good friend of mine who met in Greenville, North Carolina, but she didn't pace either, but she crewed. And just seeing her, it's like when I see Reese, it's like, I know I'm safe because she's just such a good friend. And it's like kind of when you see your family, it's like, I feel safe and I know I'm okay. Reese has been there for a lot of different things and a lot of races, and seeing her, like, not only did she help with crewing, but she just like, her presence was comforting. And then, so that was like the crew who was there physically.
So was there a time when you were, I don't know, day 7, day 8, where you like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this.
I kept thinking that, and I was like, stop thinking that. Anything could happen. Like, you could get hurt. You could like, because that night with Michael, I was like sprinting down the trail because we were so exposed and there's a thunderstorm, and I was freaking the heck out. Thank goodness Michael was there. Man, he was like, hey, we should probably calm down. I was sprinting down the trail at one point and fell and like banged my hip up really bad, and it was like bruised really bad after that. And I was like, anything could happen. I could like freak out again and something like that could happen. I could fall on a rock. And so every time I'd think like, oh, I can do this, it was like, okay, just nope, don't even go there. I would say the last 20 miles, I was like, we probably have this, but still, let's just take it nice and easy. No reason to get weird or anything. No weird stuff. Let's just get through it. There wasn't really a point where I allowed myself to go there, though.
So when you touched that sign in Durango, what was that like?
It was like, because with attempts, it's like with the Bet McKay Trail is a little different, but with the Mountains of Sea Trail, it's like this, that you constantly, it's like you feel like you're like being held hostage almost. I think that was the theme of the Mountains of Sea Trail, though. Just feeling like I was being held hostage. That I think that's a singular experience.
Yeah.
With the Bet McKay Trail and with the Colorado Trail, I've enjoyed these attempts so much more than the Mountains of Sea Trail. And it is for sure like a release, but it's like, I did that. Like, that happened. It's done. And I did it. It's just like matter of fact. It's not, I'm excited, but like, I'm just like, it's done. And it happened.
So after you said you've been very emotional, very tired, walk us through, it hasn't been that long. It's only been like a week or so, maybe 7 to 10 days. You're back at home. You're back doing your, normal daily activities. What's happening?
Well, it's just weird to be in such a beautiful place and then come back to Virginia Beach and
I laugh. I was thinking about Colorado and the San Juans and then Virginia Beach.
Yeah, I love it here because all my friends are here and my husband's here and my dog's here. And it's like, and I was thinking about it today, and there's like something beautiful about like seeing a beautiful mountain. But I think like your family, this might sound weird, but like your family and the people you love is just as good as like a beautiful mountain or like a great trail run. Like they're the same thing, if not better. And like, yeah, I wish I was there with them, but also it's like just as good to be here. I'm just like tired, and I went right back to work because I need to start making money for my next trip, which is Run Rabbit Run. I'm leaving for Colorado end of this month to do Run Rabbit Run. So I'm like, I need to get back to work and start picking up shifts in order to do Run Rabbit Run. So I went right back to work, maybe like 2 days after I got back working.
I know I was in shock when we were texting. You're like, well, I picked up a couple shifts, and I'm like,
yeah.
golly. But I mean, you have to go back to life. I mean,
yeah. but that's not the greatest because I've been really tired and emotional. And like, I told you the
Like
story.
what kind of emotion? What are we talking here?
I'm not like emotional about the attempt. I'm just like random things could set me off because I'm so tired. And like Jonathan made a comment at church on Sunday and I instantly started crying. And it was like, not that big of a deal, but it was like, I can't handle this. And I was just crying. And it's not like I'm mad at him. He didn't say anything. I'm not like upset. I'm not like sad. I'm not there. I'm not like sad about anything. I'm just tired.
Yeah. Your body is off. Your body has to be off.
Yeah. And the sleep schedule and my feet are all messed up. I can't go running. I can't even do like a simple jog. My feet hurt so bad.
Let's talk about your feet again, because I don't think we talked. They're hurting. So, I mean, are they swollen still? Like,
they're not swollen, but they are infected. And I've gone to the doctor. I'm on antibiotics right now, but they got infected from all that pounding and the toenails being there. The toenails are completely loose. They just need to pop off, but the feet are infected and they hurt pretty bad. Like I was stalking at work today and I popped my one bad foot and it just sent like pain up my body and back down. Or like, oh, that hurts so bad. But
Tara, I'm worried about you doing this Run Rabbit Run.
I know, I am too, but
we do have a question. Are you doing the 50 or the 100?
The 100.
Now, the Run Rabbit Run, is that a loop?
It's a out and back.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know the trail and I know the community and I feel pretty comfortable like doing the race, but I don't have to finish. For this race in particular, I don't have like these high standards that I have for all these other races because I know I just did something that's pretty tough.
Tara,
so I'm not expecting
you did something that's really tough. I mean, if you do the math, I know you're not on trail, so we're not going to do like real math. Like you are in the 1 percentile that will ever do this, and not even 1%. I bet it's lower than 1%. So you've done something extraordinary.
Yeah. So if I don't do well, it's okay. I can release that. But I am excited to see a lot of my friends and like the community. The Run Rabbit Run community is like, I think somebody said it best. Like it's like Cheers. It's like you go back and you're like, all my buds.
That's awesome. So after Run Rabbit Run, what else? You're going to take the winter off and kind of let your body, nope. Okay, here we go. What's that?
Javelina 100 in October.
So you're going to Arizona.
Yeah. And then that's the one I really want to do well in. So we'll see. And then JFK 50 miler.
Which is part of the JFK is on the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah. I did that last year. It was really tough. And I hope to do better this year. It's fast.
Wow. Tara.
I don't know when to stop. I just sign up for things and then I regret it later.
Okay, you need to promise the audience you'll continue to take care of your feet.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. That helps me get out faster. That helps me get on the trail faster.
And we got a question here. What about Hardrock? Are you going to put yourself in the lottery for Hardrock?
Yes.
Next year.
Always. Every time. Every single time. Will I get in? Probably not. But I will always go get in the lottery every time.
Well, listen, Tara, absolutely phenomenal. We should also mention that you're involved with the Appalachian Trail. You love the Appalachian Trail community. You're involved in the ultra running community, which is the same as the trail running community, just doing different activities, really. If you look at it, we're all on the trails is the way I look at it. And I have personally deemed myself your audio correspondent when it comes to your fastest known time attempts. And I do want to mention that you're running in ultra shoes and tell us about it's a sponsorship, I guess, with Ultra, right? Or tell us about that.
Yeah. So Ultra, I have been running and hiking in their shoes forever, ever since I really started getting into backpacking. I have an affiliation with them and it's as a development athlete. I don't receive money from them, I should say. But they do give me shoes, and then they give me a stipend for like travel, which is really nice. And I'm really happy with like the partnership with them. They're a really great company, and I have like a correspondent in the company, and she's great. And I just feel like I'm really connected, and they include all of us in like these decisions and like testing. And so I love Ultra. I can't say anything better about them.
And we should also mention your own personal YouTube channel. You know, you have over 20,000 subscribers and you put out a video weekly, and you've really turned it into what I would call, you've combined all three communities that you're involved in.
Like through hiking, ultra running, like FKTs as well. Cause I feel like all those are like complete, like separate communities.
All right, you guys, go over and follow Tara. Tara, we're going to let you enjoy the rest of your evening. So hang on, Tara. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to flip the screen and close out the episode. You guys, what an amazing completion that Tara did for her attempt. And it's just like anything, whether you're going out on a section hike, a through hike, an FKT, you have in your mind that one thing is going to happen. And you guys know how this goes. You could throw your itinerary out the window and start another one. And I'm just so proud of you, Tara. I love you to death. And in the meanwhile, you guys, thanks for listening. Be safe out there, everybody. And as always, happy section hiking.